Okay, well, that's my cue. Welcome, everybody. My name is Kierra Pels. I am with NextGen. I'm one of the coaches with NextGen for this time around. I started coaching with them about a year ago now. I own a gym, a cheer gym in Alberta, Canada, way up north. So we're starting to get to those freezing marks overnight, which is fun. So I was asked to do this presentation on increasing your arm, and I'm actually super excited about it. It's one of my favorite sessions to do, simply because it's something that I really didn't know about until I joined NextGen and we started talking about it and started really looking into it as a full business. So that's a little bit about me. I've owned my gym for 6 years now. I have 2 full-time salaried paid staff and 14 other staff with regards to coaching and birthday parties and front desk and all of that stuff. So yeah, I think I've met a few who are on here. I think I recognize some of those names. So feel free to just say hi if you want to. With that, use the chat today, because by using the chat, you get to be entered at the end of the session. When you use the chat, that's your entry. When you're involved for some of the discussion or asking questions, that's your entry for a $50 Amazon gift card that we're giving, that Jackrabbit is giving. Okay, so a few housekeeping things that we want to just make sure everybody's aware of before we get started. If you haven't already, make sure that your devices are on silent and do not disturb. The less distractions for you, the more you'll get out of this session. And then as well, try your best to stay in a session. Again, we're jam-packed full of things today, so we don't want you to miss anything. And then if you're comfortable with, if you're well-versed in Zoom and how to switch the view, I recommend making sure that you're on speaker view versus gallery view so that you can see everything that I'm doing and all the things that I'm sharing. Before we get started on today's session, I want to do a little sneaky plug for tomorrow. Don't forget, we've got Molly from Jackrabbit who's going to be doing the session on marketing, all things marketing, do this, not that. She'll be going through choosing the right channels to promote your gym, strategies with connecting to your clients and how to stay connected to them. And then obviously the do this, not that, those marketing do's and don'ts to grow your audience. Yeah, so I think that's it for housekeeping and all the things that we needed to make sure that we let everybody know about. So without further ado, we'll get started. I'm going to share my screen. And off we go. All right, so welcome for Gym Growth Week. Today, like I said, we're doing increasing your ARM, which is your average revenue per member per month. So a little bit, sorry, can everybody see this? My screen just went weird when I went sharing. Okay, so hopefully the chat still pops up. Oh, I can see the chat, but you can just see my presentation. That's great. Okay, so first, what is your ARM, average revenue per member? So simply put, you divide your revenue in that month divided by the number of paying members that you have. And that's the simplicity of it. We'll get into it a little bit more throughout this session. But the top 3 reasons why we focus on ARM is, the top 3 reasons that we often talk about. Some of the other coaches and NextGen members might tell you a couple of extra things, like there's probably 5 or 10 on the list of why ARM matters and why it's important. But the main 3 that I focused on is the insight on where your maximum revenue comes from. So knowing where your revenue comes from and allows you to find what program brings in the most revenue so that you can achieve a higher profit margin within that stream. And then, of course, like I said, increasing potential higher profit margins. So increasing your ARM increases your overall revenue without increasing the cost too much, therefore giving you higher profit margins, right? So you're not adding a new program that's going to cost you more, or giving your staff more shifts, or spending more money to do this or that just to get higher revenue. And then, of course, strategically placing new or recurring program. So adding your adding to your top line with new programming, and it kind of helps you determine what new programming you can do that'll keep your costs low, but then also knowing that more members, new members, doesn't always mean a higher revenue, right? So we're going to go into a few of those things today. Okay, so the main advantages to knowing your ARM. So like I said, you're learning on getting new clients when getting new clients is necessary. Like I said, sometimes those new members isn't always the right choice or the cost-effective choice. And then, of course, increasing your revenue without increasing your costs and your higher profit margins like we had just chatted about. Making sure that you're in the know. So educate yourself on the numbers and these metrics. There's a bunch of other metrics that we talk about within NextGen with our coaching, with our clients that are coached and have those calls. And ARM is just one of them. But again, making sure that you are educated. So I have this quote from Megan Heaney-Greer, think, learn, act. The more you know, the better and more educated choices you have the opportunity to make. So what information you have, you can do with it to grow your business and grow your revenue. For example, if you're stressed about money and you need to cut costs, but do you really need to cut costs, or you just need to increase your ARM? So knowing where and exactly how the money is coming in and what it's allocated for allows for these costs to be, I guess, more relative to exactly what you're looking to do and helping to grow your revenue and grow your business. Okay, so we are all going to calculate our ARMs. So you take the total number of your clients. So in your Jackrabbit, you can do your enrollment snapshot. So in your reports, you can go, oh, I didn't pull up Jackrabbit to share my screen for that. But there are some systems that I'm pretty sure Molly said she was going to have in there with how to pull those reports. And you'll be able to get those I think at the end of the week when you send out all the details for that, or the end of this session. So you take your total number of clients. There's two ways to do it. We do the enrollment snapshot, and that's very date specific. So under your reports, you can find reports. I have them favored in mine. So there's a little red heart beside it. It's really quick and easy to access. And then you put your date specific. So you would do, if you run it in sessions, or if month to month is how you run things, just make sure that your start date and end date are within that realm of when those classes are happening. And then it gives you a full snapshot on your total numbers. So when you create that, have that report generated, there's a number at the top for the classes, and then you scroll all the way down and then there's a number at the bottom for total number of people who are enrolled. Now, the thing with this one is that it'll still count any students that are enrolled in 2 classes. It'll count them as 2. And so depending on how you want to calculate that, we typically don't do that one for this particular calculation. We go from their dashboard. So under the dashboard and metrics, but I'm going to, oh yeah, sorry. So usually go from dashboard under key metrics and then list active students. And then that number at the top will give you that active students number, and it won't double count anybody that's registered in 2 classes. So then that will give you your total numbers as of today, right now. So when we calculate our ARM, you don't need to tell the entire group, but I would like to see in the chat, again, another opportunity for you to get your name entered in to win that gift card. I would like to see if you're within the range. And then, oh, Amber's ready to demo and explain. Perfect. So she'll come on after. So we can do that at the end of the session. So not at the end of the week, at the end of the session, you'll get how to do that. But again, we don't need to tell the entire group what your ARM is when we calculate it. But as we're going through this, I would like for you to, in your background, perhaps in your Jackrabbit, go through this so that you know you can actually calculate it right here and now. So something that I wanted to let you know, that current ARM for my location right now as of today is $237 per member. So you find your total members and then you divide that by the total revenue for the month. So that's in your revenue snapshot, again, in your reports, revenue snapshot, and that will give you, again, date specific. So I typically go from the first of the month to today, and that gives you that month full, or you can go from today's the 26th. We go from the 26th of August to today, and that will give you that revenue for the month. And then you divide it by that total number of members that you have. And that is what your arm is. So if you have an arm that is in the 150 or below, $150 per member or below, give me a thumbs up emoji in the chat. If you have between 150 and 200 is your arm, let's give a peace sign, 2 fingers emoji in the chat. And then if you're over that 200 mark, let's do the emoji where the tongue sticks out and it's the money sign. So I want to see those emojis. Let's see where your arm's at. I'll give you a second to do that calculation. So again, your enrollment snapshot, or you go from your dashboard in Jackrabbit, and then you can do from the key metrics, then you go list active students. Okay, Jane, we've got, you're up, oh, okay, 150 to 200, that's great. Love it. Give a few more seconds here to get everybody to make sure that they have that calculation going. Lisa, great, we're at that too. Oh, wow, awesome. Okay, looks like everybody's in a good range right now. So again, we're in that good range, but like I said, mine's at 237 right now. And so the goal is to have that a little bit higher than that 200 mark, so that, again, by increasing your arm, you're bringing in a little bit more revenue without having too much cost related to that. So we are going into, I have 4 ways to help you with increasing your arm. First of all, raise your prices. Okay, chances are you need to raise them in general, and this is something that we often tell a lot of our clients. The first thing that they need to do is just raise their prices, determine the best and most natural transition for this for you. Then you'll just be able to increase your arm. That's a really quick and instant fix. Quickly, these questions, I see them coming in. April, okay, so that's great. I'll give you a few more seconds. You can just pop it in there whenever you're ready. And then Emily, does this include total revenue? You had a day camp yesterday. Okay, so you can subtract that from that, or if that class is still active in your Jackrabbit of that, then that counts as your total members, right? So that would count as your paying members in your total number of members that you take at the beginning before you find out that revenue. So you could include it if that class hasn't been archived yet, but if it has been archived, then you would just go and take those out there if you wanted. It'll change every month relatively. And of course, you want to think about if maybe you're an all-star heavy program and you just ordered uniforms, maybe take that out as well, because that's going to skew those numbers a little bit. Okay. Okay, so raising your prices. I usually recommend these 4 first. I mean, there's lots of different ways you can do it. And then the second is private lessons versus semi-private lessons. A semi-private lesson will bring your arm in the upward direction, obviously, and I'll explain a little bit more on that when we get into that section. I'm going to go through each one individually. And then Pro Shop, so items in your Pro Shop, your subscription program, and an item of the month if you don't already have them. And if you were on yesterday with Danielle, she probably mentioned quite a few things with regards to Pro Shop and increasing your general revenue with Pro Shop, but then also helping that arm come up as well. And then the last thing that I have on my list for today is birthday parties. So offering a different price point package for different options. Again, we'll go into it in detail with regards to that and how that works with increasing your arm. But just remembering there's a strategic activity we do once annually. And this is something that we do with our Academy members who are in Accelerate. And that is the second tier of like client tier pathways. And it's a full course on a 6-storm activity. So annually, when you do your strategic planning, either annually or semi-annually, there are ways to look for growth and improvement in each quarter. And then you do this 6-storm activity, and arm is one of them. And if your arm is one of your weakest metrics, then we give you all the tools, all the packages, all the things that will help you increase your arm. Okay. Okay, so first thing, raising your prices. This comes directly from my program. It's easier than you think. And try not to let it deter you if you think like, oh, it's high anxiety and a little touchy for a lot of gym owners to raise their prices because you feel like your community is just really set on where they are. Maybe when a minimum wage is a different price, and it's different with everybody. However, it's not as scary as you think. Okay, so we had an increase in numbers slightly. So the graph that I have here has to do with a little bit of our increases in numbers, but not a ton. It's just season to season. We've been growing, which has been great. But again, that also helped with the justification of raising our prices. The more people we had coming in, we're like, okay, we know we're offering a great product. We know that people love it. We do need to bring our prices up. So, and then, of course, I'm planning on bringing them up again in the spring of 2024. This is just something that we're constantly doing. Our recreational classes and tumbling, easiest for raising. Oh, I realize now I said privies, raising privies. That should be prices. That's a typo. An additional $5 to $10 a month. It'll barely turn heads, but then your margins will jump and your revenue will come up and your arm will increase. Okay, so here you see our first season numbers. And this is all within directly to our tumbling classes. So I did a little bit of work on the numbers with just our tumbling classes. We offer All-Star Cheer, Rec Cheer, All-Star and Prep Cheer. We do Rec, we do tumbling classes, birthday parties. There's a ton of things that are happening within the gym. And this one is particular, very, very particular to our tumbling classes. It's just recreational. There's no competition within gymnastics for us with this. And then just a quick note, we do continue to increase our cheer tuition fees every single year. And that's a percentage-based increase every single season. So the first one on the left, that 68.5, that was what we charged per month for our classes. And that was in 2018, 2019. And then the following season, we went to $72.50. So it was only a $4 raise. And then the following season, we did $74.50. Again, it's only a $2 raise because I was still shy in this this particular area and this season, I guess, of the gym, and was still a little bit leery on raising the prices. However, I learned really quickly that the $2 and the $4 isn't quite enough, and we only went up by $2 that one season because it was COVID and I felt bad. But then we came back and bumped it again to $78.50. That's an additional $4 a month. And now we're sitting at $84.50. So I went up by $6 from that previous one. So it just shows that the revenue in general really comes up. You raise those prices just by a tiny little bit. Again, it's not going to turn very many heads if it's just a little bit per month, and you could do it every 6 months, right? Or every session, you maybe do $2 or $3 or $4 by raising your prices. That'll increase your arm in general. All right. I don't see any questions coming through on that, so I'm going to move on. I do see, April, that you did get those numbers. That's great. Okay, so you're sitting at 150. What if you're a micro gym? You could still be raising your prices a little bit. Just see what's best for you and what's going to work within your budget. Okay, so next thing is private versus semi-private lessons. I actually heard Danielle say the word semi-private the other day, and she says semi, and I don't know if that's just because of my accent, but that's what I mean, semi, it all sounds the same. We joke about the difference in the Canadian linguistics versus US. So maximizing your gym space and your time. So our coaches are paid hourly. And so meaning they make the same wage every time they're in the building. So why not have 2 athletes in for our 30 minutes instead of just 1? So again, directly from my program. So when we were offering private lessons, we offered a 30-minute lesson, 1 athlete, 1 coach, and we charged around $35 to $40 for the sake of numbers. In this, I just put $35 per lesson per athlete. And then in 60 minutes, we made $70 in revenue. Then we switched to a semi-private lesson. So if you offered the 30-minute lessons, 2 athlete, 1 coach ratio for even less, so instead of the $35 per lesson per athlete, it's $31 per lesson per athlete. In 60 minutes, the revenue is at $124. So $70 versus $124 is a pretty significant bump. which again will increase your average revenue per member. So if you're not already paying your staff an hourly rate, I suggest that you change that. There is a full, I have a link, actually, I will post in the chat right now, to the Cheer Biz podcast that Dan does an entire episode on what the industry standard used to be in semi versus private lessons between coaches in the gym, and your risks that are associated with that. So I'm just going to post that link. It goes directly to Spotify to that exact episode, so that you have an opportunity to actually see and hear Dan talk about this. And like, that's a whole other session. But again, this is only going to work for you if, I mean, not only, it'll work better for you to increase those prices or have those privates versus semi-private lessons if your staff are paid hourly. Okay, April, you had a good response there. Micro gym, bigger now, still micro, we've raised prices and still gain new athletes, right? And the thing too, you don't want to be your cheapest classes in the area. That's right. And then you can continue to grow every single year as well. And then also remember too, if you're worried about losing clients because you're raising your prices a little bit, say you lose five clients because you raised your prices by that $5, well, you're still going to have however many, say 40 members who are going to pay that extra $5 a month. And so really it just it'll make up, if not even more, it'll still gain your revenue for that, as opposed to losing those athletes in general, or members, I guess. Okay, so any questions on semi versus private lessons? Okay, so there was a lot of information in yesterday's session about the Pro Shop and how that works with regards to increasing your general revenue in your Pro Shop. I'm pretty sure Danielle had a lot of great things to say about Pro Shop and how it can bring you more revenue. Let me tell you that these two things, exactly just these two things, the item of the month and the subscription box, they alone helped our arm immensely huge. Before we implemented these two things and a few others, our Pro Shop sales went from $64,000 in 12 months to the following year, after we implemented these two things, we went up to $95,000 in a year. Okay, so again, increasing that revenue, average revenue per member. These people want your gear, they want your logo. And then of course, I didn't put this in my slide, and then of course we have a loyalty program. Basically, if they wear our logo to their classes, to their practice, anything, they get this fake money. It's like Monopoly money that they can use to buy a couple of things in the Pro Shop. There's a very specific area that's like, these are what you can buy with your PA money. And so they want to wear our logo, so then they buy more things. And then parents find the convenience of the subscription box being, okay, well, I'm just going to pay this monthly fee and get a box that I know is going to have the logo on it somewhere, and then my kid's going to be able to earn a little bit more of that loyalty money. These programs are fully systemized and are accessible by our Academy members. So if you're already an Academy member, you do have some access to this depending on where you're at within the Academy. And some of our Academy members who have full access to these, they have all the systems, the Canva graphic templates, how to market it, all of that stuff. And I'm pretty sure that Danielle said she had a system that she was giving away for this week, the package for the item of the month system, one of those two that she was giving. So you'll have access to some of that as well. So we had a question, Haley, do you charge for 2 kids if only one spot is filled? So Samantha, thank you for answering that. Still charge the normal rate, and then it's on you to find someone to fill that second slot. So we do our semi-privates also. I'll go back to that because that is a really great question. We do ours in on a month-to-month, not a month-to-month basis. So basically, if they sign up for a semi-private lesson, they're in that same lesson every single week. Say they sign up on Mondays at 4 o'clock. They're in Mondays at 4 o'clock every single week until from September through till April. We go month to month in the sense that if they find that it's too much and they want to pull out, then that's fine. They just have to give us that 30 days notice or let us know before we charge the fees on the 25th of the month. And then we post all over our socials and in our team pages and everywhere else we send out emails. Hey, we have a semi-private lesson spot open for this day at this time. Who's willing to take it? And then it's just always full, or somebody's always in it. If somebody wants to take a month off, or if they're sick, or if they're going on holiday, they can sell it directly between them, or they can let us know and then we fill it. Like Sam's, you still charge the normal rate, and then you just make sure that that spot is filled. Okay, any additional questions? I sped through this. I honestly thought that there was going to be a lot more questions, but that's okay. So any additional questions on the semi-privates, raising your prices, or the pro shop stuff that we've gone over so far on increasing your average revenue per member? Okay, and then the last one that we have of those 4 ways to, the top 4 ways to increase your ARM is your birthday party packages. So there's a few reasons why we do different birthday party packages. One being that there's a difference. So it's a big difference for your consumer, your buyer, your client, but it's no difference to us when cost and the time slots that they're in. Sorry, I just saw Haley. I just saw your, I'm just going to make sure that I respond to everyone here. It's your number of sorry, that stopped me right in my tracks. Okay, so the difference, there's no difference in time. It's a difference for them, but it's not a difference for us supplying the product, right? There's no difference in time. Again, our staff work hourly, so it's still, for our birthday parties, it's still 2-hour time slot. You're still paying the same staff for that 2 hours, but the difference is that they're not involved to have the staff, so they may not be as active within that shift, but they're still paying the same, they're still being paid the same wage whether they're being active or not. And so that basic package still gets them all the normal stuff, and then each package after that, where that difference comes in, it gives a better, more valuable experience for that consumer. So there's those, you know, instead of unstructured free time play, they get some structured play, and then there's themes that they can pick to go along with that as well. And then the reason we do it, of course, is options for a different price point allow for you still to increase your revenue without increasing the cost. Again, it's no change on your end with regards to the cost and how much you're paying. It may be in the sense that if you have the highest package, the most expensive, includes, you know, tablecloths, balloons, and plates and cups and whatever based on the theme, that costs a tiny bit. However, by the time they get to that, you've probably booked a bunch of your normal basic level ones to help cover that cost, because you should still be getting revenue from those anyway, right? And then we have add-ons as well. So having an add-on option, again, gives you more flexibility to increase your ARM, and then also increasing that party goers without increasing the cost. It all relates back to increasing your prices without increasing your cost. And then that way it allows more flexibility for you to really give them more of an experience that they're paying for, instead of paying money for a different product to go against that. All right, we have add-ons like the bouncy house, and we'll do a pizza party. We'll order your pizza for you so that it's all out of your hands. You don't need to worry about it, but this is what it's going to cost you. So it's more about it is for the actual cost for them, which is okay. And oftentimes that's what parents want to pay for, is that convenience. And then of course, like I've mentioned a few times already, is that difference in your profit margin. So start putting a profit percentage limit on everything. So, and that includes your pro shop, that includes your classes, that includes everything else. But I find it's really important within the birthday party. So find out what the cost is to run your birthday party, your staff wage, what the supplies are, maybe your staff gym time, or what it costs you to run your gym per hour. And then you set your prices to cover that cost plus the 30%. And then that's your basic, right? And then you add another, 10, 20%, and that's your next package. The joys of this too is we're giving away a birthday party checklist, like in PDF form, package for birthday parties for next gen. So you'll get the link for that as well when Amber has that little bit of time at the end to give you everything that you need. So you're going to be getting that from next gen as well, that birthday party package checklist. So again, we'll go through it one more time. Again, if you have any questions, I'm just going to go through these slides quick so that you have those 4 top things on increasing your average revenue per member. If you do have any questions, now is your chance to make sure that you're in that chat so that you get your name entered to win that $50 Amazon gift card from Jackrabbit. So raising your prices, again, it's easier than you think, just a couple of dollars a month. And once you make that jump, once you make that leap and you realize that your clients are still going to stay and they're still going to pay that monthly fee, then it gives you a little bit more comfort and ease knowing that you'll be able to do it again the following season, or perhaps in 6 months from now, continually doing it with ours. And we're actually gaining members also at the same time. So again, increasing that revenue per member is going to help by raising your prices. And then of course, again, Kayla, when raising your prices, you're waiting until new All-Star season, new calendar year, just a new session. That one is more particular. I said that for us, we tried to help with, we tried to do it in a natural transition. So it could be a new All-Star season, a new calendar year, or just new session or new month. I often do every cheer season because we are All-Star and cheer heavy. That is where a natural transition really happens. And we offer a different summer package as well. So then we change everything in the springtime, which is May. So when we start our May scheduling, it's something brand new for everybody. So then we just release it at that point in time. And then when we reach in like February, March for people to register, they're already increased for cheer with that. Okay, Eric, are all of your birthday parties 2 hours long? Some shorter, some longer. So all of our birthday parties are 2 hours long. So the add-ons and the next packages have to do with the experience in general. So it's all the same time slot. It's an hour and 15 minutes in the gym and 45 minutes in the party room. And that doesn't change across the board. The difference, and again, you can get this in your birthday party checklist that we're going to give you from Next Gen, is the difference in what you offer. So structured versus unstructured playtime, circuits, tumbling, specific to themes. You get some decorations involved, and then the pizza add-on, and the ultimate, like the big package that's our most expensive, allows for you to add more kids. So we have an 18 kids maximum. So when you book a party with us, you can have no more than 18 party guests, and then when you bump up to that ultimate package is what we call it, then it gives you, you can have 25 instead of 18. So we do a little bit. Again, it's not going to raise your cost, but it'll increase your revenue. So, okay, we've got Haley. Do you believe 2 packages are okay for birthday parties, or 3 would be better? It's really up to you and your community and what you think. I think 3 is the magic number because that's 3 in everything that we do. There's small, medium, large. There's, that's the biggest one that I related to, is small, medium, large, right? So then you've got, we call it basic, next level, and ultimate. And then that way you have that. And then I just have the add-ons as extra. So the add-ons can be done in any of the birthday parties or any of the packages. So that way, again, like I'm still getting a little bit more revenue with keeping that cost low. Susan, do you raise prices yearly? I do. Absolutely. Yeah. Every single season we do a little bit of a price raise, just in our programs and in our birthday parties actually as well. So a little tiny bit every year. And it depends on how much you want to go up. We did every year. And then right after, I think 21, 22, we did a half-year price range for our tumbling classes because we realized I didn't raise them because of COVID, and I felt bad for everybody. And then I realized that all of our classes were full and we were offering a great product. And I thought, okay, well, if they're going to pay this much, they're definitely going to pay this much. So we just did a little price raise. And the good thing is I could use COVID as an excuse, like, hey, we're trying to recover from the pandemic just like everybody else, and this is what's happening. So you're still in your same classes, you're still this, so I'm just letting you know your price is changing from this to this. Let us know if you have any questions. And then our members are really good about it as well. And then of course, semi versus private lessons. We talked about, and I sent the link. I'm pretty sure I sent it to Molly for that podcast, for the CheerBiz podcast, to get you listening to that. If you don't already pay your staff hourly for semi and privates, then I would listen to that one as well. And then your pro shop, Danielle talked a bunch about that. I didn't have to do a ton on that because her whole session yesterday was on that. And then your birthday party packages. So Haley, is there a way to get more info about your loyalty rewards program? I'm pretty sure there's a system, Haley, for our Academy members that has to do with loyalty rewards. If not, I'm pretty sure there's a session happening at our conference in San Diego that has to do with the loyalty rewards program as well. So you can reach out in the Academy and find out that. Danny, some standard ideas for add-ons. We've tried to cater to themes and all. Yeah, so definitely you should raise your prices on that package. Our add-ons right now, yeah, our bouncy house 1 or 2, because we have 2 different ones. We have the small one for like preschool age kids, and then we have the giant one that's like an obstacle course. So there's the 1, the 2, or both. So that's 3 add-ons options, and then the pizza party add-on as well. And then that's it. So we just have those add-ons for right now, and we're actually constantly trying to think of new ways to do add-ons and everything. So I have another link too as well. And then for the CheerBiz podcast, actually Dan does an entire episode on ARM, and it's a really great listen as well. And if you aren't already following and subscribed to that podcast, I would do so, because it gives a lot of information and a few extra business tips on how to grow your gym. Okay, great. We had one more. Birthday parties from Susan. Do you limit the number of kids invited? Yep, absolutely. So we have, to keep our costs down, one of our packages, so we have 1 staff on birthday parties. And then because most often, I mean, not most often, it is required for the party person to have, to stay. So then we don't necessarily need that rule of 2 because the parent is staying, and then we have 1 staff member who we're paying for the 2 hours. Now, the other thing that we do as well, if it's an ultimate party, which allows for the number of invitees to be increased. So yes, we limit the number of kids invited, and it's 18 for the first 2 packages, and then we bump it to 25 for the ultimate package. And we actually have our CITs come in and help with those birthday parties. So it's good training for them. It's great. They're a volunteer. And so it doesn't cost us anything. Again, doesn't cost us anything. It's still great. They're still covered with us. And we can have more kids within the gym. Sometimes we have, because we have open shifts in home base, and sometimes I have a paid staff who will take on that birthday party knowing that there's an ultimate that is booked. But it's not a huge difference for me if I have 2 paid staff for that 2 hours as opposed to a paid and a volunteer every now and then. So I still allow for them to pick those up if they need to or if they want to. Jennifer, super excited to start brainstorming and add-ons for birthday parties. Awesome. Oh, thanks, Molly, for posting that, the CheerBiz podcast. That's great. April had lots to say about the podcast. That's great. Emily, oh, great. So you found out what works for you. That's good. Everybody has some lots of great insights and everything as well. Okay. I love hearing what other gyms do as well too. Like, we can always continue learning from each other, and knowing what works for you is really great. to share, because it might work for somebody else as well. And what works for me might also not work for you. This is just what we've learned, and it's majority of us in Next Gen who are now coaches are also experiencing these same outcomes. And so that's why we like to help others learn and allow for you to not have to reinvent the wheel or learn some of those lessons the hard way. So, okay, so we can bring Amber in. Do I have to do anything with this? I can stop sharing, first of all.
Hi, everybody. While we're transitioning over, I'm just going to pop through some really popular reports that you can use through Jackrabbit to help you calculate your arm. Kierra did a fantastic job of teeing me up, so thank you for that. And I will keep up with any questions in the chat. I'm going to go through some slides, but if for some reason I need to demo anything, we can certainly attempt to do that if we have any time. So first things first, you've got to know how to calculate your student count and your monthly revenue. So I'm going to tell you how to do that in Jackrabbit. So 5 must-have reports include paid fees, which can be detail or summary, the revenue summary. You also heard Kierra talk about the revenue snapshot. So a lot of these reports are very similar. You're going to get the same information, but it's just a different output. So it's personal preference, however you want to see it. And then as far as enrollment, I'd really like to look at the enrollment detail report. It is very powerful and can help you determine your history of enrollment on a specific day in the past. So if you didn't get a chance to check your dashboard on a particular day, you can certainly use the enrollment detail report to get that historical number. The enrollment snapshot, which she spoke about, I do like how it tells you, based on where your class is enrollment-wise, this is the type of revenue you can collect, but it does not include discounts. So it's a guide, certainly not set in stone. And then last but not least, business intelligence reporting, which for a lot of people is likely pretty new. It takes everything revenue, enrollment, and just puts it all in one place and gives you historical and present view. So to keep this concise and not so boring for anybody who doesn't use Jackrabbit, I'm just going to go through some slides, but if we need more information or help articles, I've got you covered there. All right, so paid fees. This one is really important and very popular. As I mentioned, it comes in detail or summary. So do you want more information or do you want just the bare minimum? It is displayed by category 1. So if you are not familiar with Jackrabbit, category 1 is what I like to call your revenue buckets. So you determine how you want to see your revenue broken up. Is it your rec versus team? Is it maybe the different programs that you offer? If you've got tumbling, you've got cheer, you've got dance. However you want to see your revenue, there's no right or wrong way to do it, but you want to make sure that you understand that and set it up correctly. And if for some reason you decide you want to change how you got it set up, our support team can help you get those math changed. It'll also break it down by transaction type. So think for transaction type, maybe it's a merchandise fee, or it's a competition fee, or a meet fee, or it could be tuition. So those are your transaction types to think about. And then it is based on a certain date range that you put in. So if you just want to see one day, you certainly can, but if you want to see the whole month, you can, and that's where you can calculate your ARM from looking at the month. Next up is the revenue summary. This one's really neat. Same information, just organized in a different way. So you can see your category 1s, 2s, and 3s. So again, you're drilling down that revenue more and more. So you can determine, okay, this program is bringing in a lot of revenue. Maybe I need to add more of these classes, or this program isn't doing what I thought it would do. So let's figure out how to either, replace those classes with something else, or put our time and energy into making that program more. So in this screenshot, you can see it's got category 1, 2, and 3. So you've got cheer as the category 1, and then your category 2 is advanced and intermediate, and then it's continuing to break those down by class and category 3. So again, if you are one of those that really wants to drill down into every place that that revenue is coming from, this report is for you. All right, enrollment detail report. This one brings me back to my support days where the most common report that we would help clients with is the enrollment detail report, because it can do so many different things. So oftentimes, you know, we hear, I want to be able to find my total student count on a day in the past. And so if you have Jackrabbit, I encourage you to either take a picture with your camera on your phone or screenshot this or take some notes. You'll want to save this one as a favorite for sure. So the key is the question that asks about active classes, you want to say no. There could be some classes that maybe are no longer active, particularly if you want to compare a session in the past to a session now. You just want to open the criteria as much as possible. Student status, make that blank, because if you're looking at a date in the past, that student may not be active anymore. There's a chance that they recently dropped. And depending on how far back you're looking, you want to make sure that you're capturing anyone who's no longer active. Enrollment status, you want all, because again, they could be current or past enrollments. And here's the key right here. So enrollment as of the date from and through should be the exact same. So that is what gives you what I call a snapshot view of what your enrollment was that day in the past. So for example, if I wanted to know how many students I had or how many members I had at the end of August, I would put 8/31/23 and then 8/31/23 again. And then at the very bottom, your display settings, you want to have that as student summary instead of enrollment detail. So what that's going to do is that's going to count unique students instead of spots that they are taking up. And so that is how you get that historical number. In case, you know, you forgot it was the end of the month and didn't capture that on your dashboard. So I'm going to just pause right there and let anyone take a picture, jot that down. Ashley, I think this answers your question if you're a Jackrabbit user, but I'm sure any class management system that you use probably has a similar report that you can pull to get the same information. And Danielle, if you're here, this one's for you. So she said that she was going to have to learn how to do this because she didn't know that this could be done. All right. So enrollment snapshot, very similar to what Kierra talked about. It's a good visual way to see where your classes stand capacity-wise. And then if you want to take it a step further and see the projected revenue, of course, with no discounts applied. So if you have a tiered tuition schedule, the more classes you take, the cheaper it is per class. It's not going to count that. But I really like it for the bar graph to be able to see how full that class is. Where, you know, can you move bodies around? Can you fill up another class and put something else there? It really, you know, gives you something instead of just looking at boring numbers and not fun reports. All right, the most exciting part of all, business intelligence. So this is something new that Jackrabbit's team has been working on since the very, very end of last year. It is currently available in beta testing to our top tier. So if you have 3,001 students or more, it is available to you included in your pricing. However, later this year, we are going to offer this as a buy-up option. So if you are not in that unlimited tier, you can say, I'll pay that monthly price and you'll get access to it. You'll never have to worry about your number of students or locations, and you will get all of this awesome reporting. So the great thing about our business intelligence dashboard, which has many nicknames around here, be it BI dashboard, bid, if you're really being lazy, you can make data-driven decisions. So again, finding out which program is the most popular, what's bringing in the most money, your revenue and enrollment metrics, being able to see those KPIs, and even determining your, retention and churn and revenue by coach. That's also important. And then being able to compare month over month and year over year in one singular view. So I'm going to show you an example of that with enrollment, since that's what we've been talking about. And the awesome part is some of our clients have multiple Jackrabbit accounts because maybe they have a swim program and a gymnastics program, or sometimes they're in two different cities that are very close together, but they're in two different states, so they have different tax rates. There are various reasons why clients could have multiple accounts, and the business intelligence dashboard allows you to compare your businesses in one place without having to go pull a report in account A and then pull a report in account B, and see the history over time. So this is an example of the monthly enrollment year over year. So it's color coded. The green is 2021, the dark blue is 2022, and the light blue is 23. Don't be alarmed at these numbers. This is a test database that uses all of our client data all together. So I don't expect anyone here to have 729,000 students. But I did want to show that as you hover over the bar graph, it will give you the details of the month that is being looked at, the year, and the ending enrollment. So this particular report, and this is just one of many, I think we have a total of like 30 different reports. It is showing your ending enrollment, so what you ended with at the end of the month, each month over time. And of course, you want to see those grow every year. And then ending students, so your ending members over time, month over month and year over year. The really cool thing about this is if you are a data geek and you want to drill down into where this data is coming from or what it includes, this is powered by Microsoft tool Power BI. And so you really have the ability to filter, drill down. You can filter by category 1, you can filter by date, you can filter by all sorts of things. I haven't even touched the surface of what this BI dashboard can do. So really exciting. If you are a Jackrabbit client and you're interested in the buy up or learning more about it, just stay tuned because that is coming later this year. So we can end the year with a bang. I will give it a second to see if anybody has any questions related to reporting. I know I went through that so fast, but just wanted to make sure that I have time to pass it back to Kierra in case anyone has thought of questions for her before we are done for today. So I'm not seeing any yet. I know it takes a minute to type, so I'm going to go ahead and stop my share. And if anyone pops in, I can always type back to them if needed. All right, looks like I am free of the questions.
Great, thank you for that. Actually, I learned a few things as well. So that's great. Jackrabbit comes out with new ways of reporting and finding out numbers. And like I said, right, is the more you know, the more educated decisions that you can make to grow your business. So that's great. Thanks, Amber. Okay, the last thing that I have, I'm going to share my screen once more, but this time it's a little bit more fun if you maybe didn't find the first one fun. We're going to, we put all the names, well, I didn't. Jackrabbit put all the names into a spin wheel for us. So we are going to spin this wheel and find out who has won that $50 Amazon gift card. So a click to spin. We are spinning. And our winner for today is April. I don't know if you can hear if there's an audience clapping and all of that. All right, so April, you can email to claim your prize marketing@jackrabbitcheer.com to redeem that. So I'm pretty sure, Molly, were you going to put that in there? Do you want me to put that in there where she can send that email, a link for that email? And yeah, I think that's a wrap for us today. Thanks so much for joining. Make sure that you're on tomorrow for Molly's marketing do this, not that session. And it looks like we've also got all of the links for everything to book a call with us, check out our all the rest of the resources that we had, so including that birthday checklist and the resource that Danielle gave with Pro Shop stuff, our conference in San Diego in January. It's going to be super awesome. We have a ton of stuff happening. We're really excited to have that conference underway. And then Jackrabbit, great, free trial, cheer demo with Jackrabbit. And then you can set up a call with them as well to learn a little bit more on how to use it to its full potential as well. So we are all done. Thanks again for joining me today, and we will be on tomorrow for the session on marketing with Molly. Have a great day, everybody.